Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan from Seaway Sports Lounge, and this is another episode of Leafs Time Out. This is my reaction, my thoughts, my impressions of the Maple Leafs' first game of the opener against Montreal tonight. I just got home. I am still thinking about the game, of course. So I figured, you know what? Let's do a video for my first reaction of the first game of the season. I'm going to give you basically the breakdown of the game quickly. I'm going to give you also what kind of happened and where they kind of went wrong. And then, of course, I'm just going to go over the general thoughts and first impressions of what I saw. Hopefully, give a better, clearer picture of what I think. So, with that, let's just get right into it. So, the Leafs lose their opener. They lose 4-3 against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal. There was a lot of hype to this game, a lot of question marks from the Montreal side. How would this young team, especially that young defense core, hold up against the one of the most powerful offenses out there from last year? And basically to see what Montreal could do. Now, of course, they had their ceremonies, they had the game going, and of course, like in the banner below, Cole Caulfield got 2 goals. Now they were very pretty goals, especially the second one. It sneaked over Murray's shoulder. But anyway, basically that was the 2 goals he got. And Josh Anderson, actually, he scored the winning goal with 19 seconds left in the game. But we're going to go over that in a few minutes of what actually happened. On the Toronto side of things, of course, because this is Leafs timeout, Michael Bunting, Dennis Malgin, and William Nylander also replied for the game in various points during the game. Michael Bunting scored his first goal. He was the first to do the first scoring for the Maple Leafs in this game. William Nylander had a really dandy goal right at near the end of the game, but unfortunately that just didn't work out. Tied the game, but unfortunately it didn't make a win. Matt Murray actually made 19 saves. I'll go over his play in a short period of time. But anyway, that is basically the scoring and the breakdown of that for both teams. My initial reaction to this game, I mean, I don't have high hopes for game one in any season. I don't care how good the team is. I'll be up front. I think it's going to be more like a preseason game because let's be honest, a lot of the players haven't played very much. They haven't really seen each other's lines. A lot of the players that are that are stars obviously know what they need to do. But Toronto made a lot of moves, and again, this offseason, and they ended up getting a lot of third and fourth line changes. So I don't know how much they actually really focused on all that. And they were probably more focused on actually figuring out who's staying and who's going. So this game, like I said before, I don't really have that much faith in game one. I mean, it's fun that we're having hockey again. And of course, I'll get into it as the season rolls along, but I didn't expect a clean, crisp, powerful game like some people would think, but that just doesn't happen. And on Montreal's case, in my opinion, what I saw was very similar. Montreal had a lot of moments where it was very much floating around, and it was very nothing crisp or moving either. And actually, Toronto hemmed them pretty good in the third period. Thing is, both teams clearly were still trying to figure out the lines and figure out who works with who and all that. And of course, just shaking off that summer rust, even though they've had some preseason. But as I said, some people haven't even played. The thing that I noticed, I'm going to do a little breakdown of the game now. So, one of the things I noticed they took away is that Matt Murray, I mean, he had some really good saves. He kept Toronto in the game a number of times, especially when Montreal came back to tie it. They tied it twice before Toronto tied it near the end. There were the 3 goals that he let in. There are 3 of the 4 that were over his shoulder very fast, and that made me a little concerned. I mean, Matt Murray's a very tall man. He's got a lot of net to cover and all that, but I just found maybe it's just me, and of course it's game one. I'm going to give him lots of runway at the moment. But I think game one, I mean, I noticed that he let a lot over his shoulder, and I'm wondering if that shoulder maybe not be fast enough. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to watch that as the season progresses and as the Maple Leafs start him to see if it's maybe just a one off problem or maybe something that's going on. That is one thing I noticed about the goals. The second thing, and it was brought up by Elliot Friedman, is that 3 of those 4 goals were off odd man rushes in Montreal down the middle. Montreal buried the Leafs when they got going and they got those goals. They need to obviously fix that. Now, again, brand new season, first game. Let's not be insane and over the top with our judgments here. But I did notice that the odd man rushes were constant. The Leafs had a hard time keeping Montreal hemmed in the neutral zone or the center ice area. I mean, I have no idea how that's going to go. I mean, last year the transition game was Toronto's bread and butter. They had a very, very good transition game. They would bury teams with that. So I'm sure they're going to get back to that. But you can see in the game that Toronto had a tough time trying to contain Montreal's speed at times. So anyway, we'll see how they correct those problems. But those are the 2 things I noticed as well. Now, Second thing, no, third thing is Jake Muzzin. Now, what happened was in this game, Toronto was 2-2, then ended up Montreal got a late goal with a few minutes left in the third. So obviously, fans thought, okay, we might be in trouble here. Anyway, William Nylander broke away, and he actually ended up breaking into their end, and then he put one right between Allen, and he tied the game up 3-3 with a very short period of time. I think it was under a minute. Anyway, it looked good. Toronto was feeling good. The fans were feeling good. Everyone was happy. At the end of the game, with 19 seconds left, I believe it was 19 seconds, Montreal passed the puck into the Toronto end. It hit the goaltender. It hit Murray. Murray saved first shot. Then it came around the left side, and then it got passed out into the middle, and then Jake Muzzin, for whatever reason, I don't understand why he does this. It drives me crazy, and I don't get it. He took the puck instead of skating once and throwing the puck, putting it out to the boards or passing it off. He decided to shoot it up the middle, right up the center, right in front of him, and it bounced on a Montreal player. The Montreal player passed over, I forget who it was, and anyway, Anderson buried the puck right there and finished the game off with 19 seconds left. Toronto just couldn't get it going. Montreal had the puck, and that was it. And that's basically what happened there. I don't understand why Muzzin would do that. I don't get why this guy is like a 30-year plus, like 30 years old, 31-year-old defenseman. This guy's 5 point some million. Like, why would you make a play like that? And you can tell at the end of that goal, you look at him, he takes the puck and he throws it as hard as he could against that wall. He knows he made the mistake. But the thing is, these are mistakes you can't do. Okay. I know it's Montreal. I know it's the game one, but it sets a precedent. You have to be sharper. You have to make better judgment. I'm sure he knows that. And I'm sure he's going to hear about it later, maybe next, well, because they play tomorrow. Actually, they play Washington tomorrow in Toronto. He needs to get past this mistake, of course, but he needs to make better choices with that puck. Make better choices, and maybe it'll be better. Okay, that Muzzin Hall lineup there, that can't happen. Still not very good this year, even though we just started. That can't happen again. So anyway, sure he feels terrible about it, but anyway, cost the Leafs the game. Toronto was coming off that nice goal by Nylander, so it just deflated everyone, and it just wasn't enough time. It was 19 seconds. The last part of this video, like I said, this is just a quick thing about Toronto's game today, my instant reaction. It's my overall view of this game and the first impressions I have. My first impression of this team is they were very sleepy tonight. I found them a little lazy. Clearly, I didn't find them engaged as much as they should. There were times that I did not hear Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Riley as much. I heard Riley's name a little bit, but I didn't see those players hardly at all during the game. I mean, those players are the guys they lean on the most, and for whatever reason, they just didn't look interested at all in what I noticed. Now, that doesn't mean they weren't interested. I just think there's something about it that they just need to wake up. And that's what I was saying when I was watching the game. I'm like, this team needs to wake up. Like, they were sleepy through the first and second period. The only time they offered Montreal any kind of misery was whenever the third was rolling around, and they ended up getting the goal to tie. Basically, that was a big thing because Montreal actually ended up going up with Sean Monahan actually scoring his first goal as a Montreal Canadian. He put it up 3-2, and then Nylander got his 3-3. Overall impressions for this game, very lazy, very much like a preseason game. As I said, I had this feeling it was going to be like this. They're just not there yet. Like, I always judge a team after 10, maybe 15 games because you need to get your legs, you get to get your sense of where everybody is. I know they're hockey players and they do this all the time, but I mean, regardless, they're still human beings. And the thing is, they need a little bit of time to get settled into a groove, and they weren't there yet. And again, it's game one. And of course, Montreal, you're in the Bell Center. To be honest, it's a loud building. To be honest, the building was very quiet for the bulk of the game. The only time the game got really loud was whenever it started to open up and both teams were actually playing like hard. They were actually like going at it like transition and both sides. Then things were rolling. Now Toronto had a power play. Their power play looked good in terms of the movement. But one thing I noticed, just to bring up this, is they need to shoot the puck more. I mean, and we all say it. I'm sure all fans say it at the television, screaming at the TV, shoot the puck. Well, they need to, because tonight they tried to get the perfect pass and and in that last power play they had in the third period, they were hammering the Montreal Canadiens. They had them back on their heels and they still couldn't put it past Allen. Just an overall, I thought maybe a better result. I thought they would come out a little better, but that's my impression. I just found Toronto a bit sleepy and lazy and just overall just a team that was still coming out of preseason. It's no excuse. You should always be ready for a game. However, that's what I saw. That'll take care of this video. Now, just to let you know, like I said, Toronto will be playing again tomorrow. They're going to be playing the Washington Capitals in Toronto. I believe it's a 7 o'clock start. We'll see what that game goes. But unfortunately, they didn't win game one. So anyway, so with that, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what we're doing with our content, please hit like and subscribe. If you want to see more of our content, please hit the notification bell on the right. And with that, thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Have a good night.